Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ice TV. And I say, why not? Because it is National Iced Tea Month. And as you all know, we celebrate, well, every opportunity that we can when it comes to tea. What we're really pleased to do for you this year is that we have reached out to all our fabulous members and all the great brands that represent tea here in Canada, and we've invited them to make some iced tea for you. So rather than constantly watch me make iced teas for you, I've got some really, really great guests that I'm going to introduce and let them take the floor. So today we're going to start with James Kenny, and I'm going to add James to the stream. Hi, James.
Hey, Shannon, how are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
Awesome. Living the dream. Can't wait to show some iced tea off.
It's so good to see you. So before you and I get started, let me introduce you to everybody else. So James has worked in the Canadian food service industry for more than 25 years with roles both in restaurant and operations and food manufacturing sales. He's currently part of the TATA Consumer Products Canada team, managing the food service sales for Tetley, Tea Pigs, and 8 O'Clock coffee brands.
I know, right? We have a dark secret. It's out there. Don't let anybody know.
Well, we just broadcast it live, so.
I thought it was just you and I.
Well, yeah. You, me, and hopefully lots and lots and lots of people. So, James, are you an iced tea drinker?
I am an iced tea drinker. Well, in fact, we have one of these made on our counter most times.
Yeah.
Ready to pour at a moment's notice and have the ingredients ready to go. I'm actually more of a tea drinker than anything else. So.
Do you prefer hot or cold? And I know that's sort of one of these tricky, time of year questions.
Yeah, I'm a hot beverage person. I prefer it. I do. If I'm going to go to tea, when I go to tea, it's generally hot. But when the mercury hits that 28, 30 degrees, which is looking like it's going to do this weekend, iced tea becomes more prevalent, right?
And I know you've got kids. Do your kids do iced tea as well?
Yeah, my son, he prefers the herbal though. He not quite graduated. He's only 12, so he hasn't really graduated to the black tea, green tea world. He's peppermint, and he gets into our plethora of Tetley flavors. He likes the immune for his state of affairs. Right?
Well, we are all encompassing at the Tea and Herbal Association of Canada, so quite happy that he's doing the botanicals. It's always a good what do we call them? Gateway drugs.
Yeah, I kind of say that to him, and he says, "I'm never going to the black tea. It's too strong. It's bitter. How do you do it?" So,
all right.
but,
well.
You know what? They all say things when they're 12.
We shall see.
That's right.
So, James, tell us what you're going to make us for us today.
Oh, wow. So I am going to use the Tetley black tea today, and I'm going to make a Hawaiian iced tea. And I pre-made one here just so we kind of know what it looks like. I guess to get started, how the base. So the tea, star of the show, right?
Yeah.
So I actually pre-make my tea the night before. I prefer to start with a room temperature based tea that I pour over ice as opposed to ice bringing it from the fridge. I find that it does pick up odors and flavors quickly. Even if it's sealed, it tends to pick it up. So I make it a night before, so it's ready to go. And at a moment's notice, if someone comes in and they want a glass of iced tea, and I have a plethora of fruits and vegetables around they want to add to it, that I can make one readily, rapidly. One thing I did learn, a little secret the other day, is to make iced tea less astringent, if you will, or less puckering, is just put a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda at the start when it's out. I know I was amazed that it kind of threw me for a loop at first too, but I tried it. It does smooth it out. So
I've never heard that before.
I had never heard it before, and actually, Jen Dickens in our marketing department, she found it, and we tried it. And listen, I was a skeptic at first, but it's all I add to my black tea now, just to smooth it out, and it enhances a little bit of the flavor. And you can bring back some of the acidity with the fruit or lemon or whatever fruit you want to put in. Brings back a little of the acidity, but it starts with a very neutral palate. You still get the tea taste because it is all about the tea. I mean, much as you put out stuff in the glass, it is about the tea that you really want to taste, right? Authentic product. But it does help. So I'm not going to dwell on that, but it's good.
I'll try anything once, but now that we've put it out into the universe, you got to give us the ratio.
A quarter teaspoon for every, I make 8 cups and put a quarter, just under a quarter teaspoon of baking soda. Just enough to see it kind of splash in, do its little bubbling, and then that's it. It mellows it out completely. So someone is on the fence over iced tea and they're, it's too sharp, too bitter. This will help flatten just a little. But if you're a traditionalist, leave it out and enjoy it the way you've always enjoyed it. So yeah, Hawaiian iced tea, something a little different, something a little more tropical as we get to the summer months. Again, start with a big glass. Or if you're going out to park, picnic, mason jar is making a huge comeback in the out-of-home world. Why can't it be used in the in-home? So fill a picnic basket, head to the park, and responsibly, of course, but then enjoy iced tea. Again, straws are a little passe, but find paper straws and go into the mix. So to be able to drink, I treat it as any type of cocktail, really. You want to start with your fruits, vegetables, whatever you're throwing in. In this case, I'm putting in a little bit of crushed pineapple. And I start with the fruit and a little bit of mint in the bottom. And I start with that just so it's in the mix, in the cup already. So when it's dwelling or the beverage is sitting in there until you get it, it picks up the flavors. So you're actually tasting subtle notes of what you're adding to the tea. I believe in a little bit of simple syrup. I just use a teaspoon in there just to sweeten it down just a little bit. Again, free product shot will cover it, but I use soda water, just a little bit of sparkling. It just gives it that little bit of pop in your mouth. Yep. And then what do? I grab ice, and I'm going to make a little bit of noise here, and I do apologize, but I add ice. And I fill the glass. So the trick to any great drink is ice. It smooths it out. It helps the palate, and it also rapidly decreases the temperature in it. And don't be afraid of using ice, because as you see, I've made a couple liters here. So if you happen to go through that first glass rather quickly on a hot day, you can easily pour another one, and really just add the ice. So simple. Again, lots of noise. I apologize. Lots of noise. But better than running a blender, which I initially thought about pureeing the pineapple, and that,
Oh, that'd be good.
Well, chef friends who said, blenders and TV live performances don't really mix. So as I fill it up, basically just putting it to the top as much as you can get in. Again, ice makes great drinks. Take your room temperature iced tea, your tea, cold tea, and basically adding it in. And you're just going to give it a little bit of a swirl. And I got another spoon here to swirl. And all it does basically marries the flavors together, creates a beverage that resembles the color of black tea, because you want, again, tradition, but gives a little bit of a flavor behind it. And you can use pineapple puree. I'm going to say that again. Pineapple puree in there. It clouds it a bit, but it does give it a little bit more pineapple zest at the back. I prefer to taste the tea with back notes of the additives, but that's the way I like it.
Lovely. So really quick, you said you added simple syrup. How do you make your simple syrup?
1-to-1 on the pot. Basically I get the pot out and a cup of sugar, equal parts water, and just boil it and reduce it. Sometimes I make it a little stronger, or I throw in the spices, so a little rosemary is nice in there too. Nice. Just a little different. So, we tend to keep 3 or 4 different types of simple syrup in our fridge. Yeah. And just for different events that may happen, or that Saturday night when there's just 3 watching TV and you want a little something, you have something, right? Yeah.
I love simple syrup. I usually have it in my fridge as well, and I usually have one with ginger too. So
that's a good.
Yeah, it's really nice for something like this, because as you say, it just adds something a little bit extra.
Yeah, just to take it up a notch, because the tea is great on its own, but sometimes you want something a little more punch, right? A little more flavor palate.
Well, before I let you go, James, I do need to know what your tea ratio is, because you used a black tea, but how did you make your tea?
So I make it a little bit stronger. So I'll have 8 cups of water, and then I'll throw in 6 tea bags, right? So,
Okay.
and the Tetley ones are a little bit heavier. They're about 3 grams, so 18 grams of tea. And I make it a little bit stronger because it has to stand up to the ice.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to be halfway through, then all of a sudden, I'm drinking a watered down beverage. Now, a lot of you use kettles, and I on my stove, let me back up here a little bit. I actually use a pot to boil the water when I'm making big volumes, because I'm making larger volumes, and I can just scoop right in the pot and pour it right in the glass serving vessel that is sitting out. And then I don't have a kettle. I'm not dealing with a kettle because that'd be almost 3 brews of the kettle I have.
Right.
Now, if you have a large kettle, use your large kettle. But I kind of use the pot quickly and get it done. Or the night before, throw in to this size. I would throw in 12 tea bags, cold water, and just let it sit on the counter and cold brew. And it takes about 10, 10's a little bit stronger, maybe 8 hours to get it full extraction.
Yeah.
Again, making your tea a little bit stronger so that it withstands to anything you add to it. Now, just want straight tea and ice, it doesn't have to be as strong, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely. So between you, me, and whoever's watching, if it's Friday night, what are you adding to that Hawaiian iced tea?
Well, Hawaii always screams rum to me.
Yes.
However, there are some great vodkas you can add. In fact, I've thrown a little bourbon in this once or twice because it does get close to.
Oh, nice.
Right? And then you have your various types of bourbon and whatever, but it's just something a little bit different and fun. And the ratio may change as you get through the cup. So I don't really know where you want to start with an ounce. Maybe
I'm thinking that by the end of the night, it might be a little bit more bourbon, a little bit less tea. Who knows?
That could be the Saturday night, maybe not the Friday night.
Well, it's been lovely having you, James. Thank you.
Thanks for inviting us, and always good to see you. Maybe in person someday soon.
I am so confident that it's going to be sooner than later.
Me too.
Good.
Cool.
All right, James. It was good seeing you. Enjoy the tea.
Bye-bye.
I'm going to try the baking soda.
Oh, I do.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that was James Kenny from Tetley making a Hawaiian iced tea with a Tetley black tea. So a nice traditional black tea that you can sort of spice up. And, I'm a little chilly at the moment in Toronto, but that's the nature of Toronto. So having said that, I am so pleased to invite Katie. Hi, Katie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for doing this. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So Katie, before we start, let me introduce everybody else to you. Katie Sear founded Monarch Tea Company in late 2013 with the vision of bringing together the traditional eloquence of tea time with a modern twist. Katie is a certified TAC tea sommelier professional and loves offering hands-on tea talks to others. You've done a great webinar for us on tea and chocolate, which I know a lot of people loved.
Yes.
All right, Miss Katie, are you a hot tea drinker or a cold tea drinker?
You know what? About 80% of the year, I'm hot tea. So like 5-6 times a day. And then come June, July, August, I find iced tea is my savior because I can still enjoy the pleasures of tea. But when it's 30, 32 degrees and it's humidity, I can relax and be cool and refreshed. So predominantly hot tea, but now as soon as June 1st has hit, I'm now in full iced tea mood.
You're in full iced tea mode. And well, as James said, I think we're supposed to get some pretty hot weather coming. So that's optimistic. Whether it stays, who knows? So Miss Katie, you are going to make us a citrus berry cooler.
Yes, awesome. Let me know when you'd like me to begin and I'll start my little demo.
All yours.
And most important, I forgot to ask you, are you a hot or a cold tea person?
Hot.
Hot, predominantly.
Well, I guess I should think about that first.
Yeah. But you'll dabble in the iced tea when
I do. I'm so like James. In the summer I usually have a pitcher of something in my fridge. Just I'm not a soda drinker. I don't do any of those things. So I definitely do that. But I have to say that I never miss my hot tea, and I don't care how hot it is outside. I need my hot tea. What can I say?
Well, hopefully I can sway you to the iced tea side with the citrus berry chiller.
Good.
So I'm going to show an option today, and I'm going to give our guests 2 different options so we can do this as a mocktail or cocktail.
Great.
And I've been loving with some of the drinks I've been experimenting with is finding ways that you could still have it maybe in the morning or an afternoon treat. Or if it's, as you're saying, Friday evening, or you want to jazz it up a little bit, so I'll show guests 2 different ways.
Right.
So first of all, you want to start ideally if you have a cocktail shaker, and if not, a mason jar works great as well for those folks kind of new to cocktail making. I'm going to do it in the shaker today. Then you want to have 3 ounces of an iced tea of choice. Today, because it's a citrus berry themed, I'm doing our lemon mango punch. So it is a hibiscus and rosehip base. So I love hibiscus and rosehip herbal tisans because they give that hot pink color. So it's really fun for cocktails and mocktail making. That being said, guests can feel free to use any iced tea of choice. If they have maybe a lovely green tea, maybe something with a little peach in it, or ginger works great. Blueberry black tea, you can use whatever iced tea you'd like, but today I'm making a tisan version with it's hibiscus, rosehip, apple, orange, mango, pineapple. But there's so many awesome hibiscus-based iced tea versions or herbal tisan versions on the market. So I know our folks at home are sure have something in their cupboard that they can use. So I'm starting with 3 ounces of that brewed, and I've just been using a shot glass to measure everything out. I just have some ice already ready to go in my stainless steel. So I'm adding my 3 ounces right in with my ice. Then if I choose to make this a cocktail, I want to add, personal preference, but 1 ounce to 1.5 ounces of gin.
Okay.
I'm a personal huge gin fan. I think I love it because of all the botanicals. So it made my love of tea and herbal tisans. When I make this into a cocktail, I've been using, we're just going to hold up to the camera there. It's called Dixon's. They're from Guelph. They do a citrus gin. So I found the citrus just went really nice with herbal notes here, but you can use whatever, even a dry gin. I'm going to make mine a mocktail today, but normally if I was doing this in the evening, I'd be doing my citrus gin.
Great.
From here, I can add 1/2 ounce of a lemon juice. So you can use, if you're just using whatever you have at home, the already made lemon juice works, or you can, of course, take your fresh lemon, squeeze that out, and do about 1/2 ounce. So I'm going to add that in there. And then we were talking earlier, I believe you were with James, talking about simple syrup. So similar to James' method, I made my own, and at the dollar store, they have these cute little sealed jars. So
I love that idea.
Similar to you, I just keep it in the fridge and I mark on it the date I made it. So generally I say about 2 weeks. I did 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of water, just boil it down for a few minutes until it makes a nice little viscous syrup here. And of course you can also add in an herbal tisan or maybe an Earl Grey or a chai and make a themed syrup. In this case, I'm just using regular simple syrup, so about 1/2 ounce. And then for our folks at home interested in mixology, if you have bitters at home, awesome. If not, you can omit. I'm going to show it on screen here. I love Dillon's.
Yes.
They're on Tufford Road in Beamsville, Ontario, so just about 15 minutes from me. And you can find those at your specialty supermarket. They also do sell online. I believe the LCBO might be starting to sell them as well now.
They do, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So in this case, I'm using orange. You could use a ginger. I also have a pear by them. They do some fun, like syrupy, different flavors. So I'm going to just do 2 dashes of orange. Perfect. And my ice is already in here. And then I'm just going to add my little top. I'm going to shake this for about 15 seconds.
Right.
Sorry for the noise, everyone.
No. I think what's really, if anybody has never done this before, it's always a surprise how quickly shaking ice in a liquid will chill down that liquid, right?
It's so true. And it's like, I was just like, do I need to do that step? But it makes a huge difference versus just pouring it right in the glass, because then you can run the risk of things separating if one liquid is heavier than the other. So quick shake. And if you have a mason jar at home, just putting the lid on, shaking it that way. And then you can use even your own little strainer. In this case, I do have like the specialty strainer, but you could use, if you have whatever you have at home, strainer wise. So we're just going to cover that over the tip of our shaker. And I'm just going to show this to the screen in a second. So I'm just going to use that. It's going to prevent any extra ice from falling in. But I've also prepared my glass at home with my ice already in it. And there's one final step, and this is going to look great if you're presenting it to guests or you're entertaining, is feel free to use some of the dried herbal tisane or tea of choice. And I'm actually just going to sprinkle it, and I'm going to show the camera in just a moment.
Love it.
Here, but how simple and beautiful that looks. And if you're giving this to a guest, they're just going to love it and want to take a photo. And even if you accidentally drink some of the tisane leaves, it's just tasty and adds a little bit of a crunch.
It's just dehydrated fruit.
So even as a mocktail, this is so refreshing. Has a hint of citrus that lingers with you, but you get the really cooling berry notes. It almost reminds me a little bit of like, I loved red Kool-Aid as a kid, but this is like a fancy adult version. It looks great in any sort of glass.
And a healthier one.
A healthy one. And this is an awesome afternoon treat, or if you have a guest who's maybe doesn't want alcohol, you would never know that there's not alcohol in this. But with the gin, it just adds that extra level of flavor to it as well. So cheers.
Cheers. I don't have one in my hand. I know. I'm gonna have to make some afterwards. I love that. I love the fact that you added bitters to it. I think that's one of the things that especially people in food service should really start thinking about in terms of using tea as an ingredient. I talk about this so much. I feel like I'm on repeat, but it's an ingredient. It's just like any other ingredient. So, to make something that is interesting and fun in the cocktail world, you can choose to make it a cocktail or a mocktail. But then to use tea and think of tea in the terms of cocktails by, as you say, things like simple syrup. Simple syrup is a cocktail term. Bitters is the cocktail world, right? Love that.
We're kind of reclaiming it and using it in a fun, different way.
Yeah.
Tea is already so flavorful, but this is a way to, I feel like if you serve this, a guest might not even know there was tea in it. They might have thought it was a juice, but showing it's thinking of tea in a new, unconventional way, not just our regular way we enjoy it. We're adding a new twist to it.
I love that. Before I let you go, Katie, there's one thing that you mentioned that I think is really interesting was adding a tea flavor to your simple syrup.
Yes.
So talk people through that really quickly.
Exactly.
How do you do that?
So for the simple syrup at home, in this case, I was mentioning half a cup of sugar, half a cup of water, or you can double that. If you want to add an herbal tisane or a tea of choice, I love to use, I don't have them in front of me, but the biodegradable fill your own tea bags.
Mm-hmm.
And I scoop, in this case, if I was doing the half a cup version, I would do maybe about a tablespoon. It's personal preference. You could do more or less of the tea or tisane of choice. Scoop it right into the biodegradable tea bag. And I actually let that steep right in with the sugar and water as I'm slowly warming it and slowly dissolving it. I usually steep for about 3 minutes, and you'll see the color start to infuse into the simple syrup. And it just looks beautiful. I've used the Earl Grey simple syrup in like a French 75. So that was with the champagne and gin, and just added a hint of Earl Grey simple syrup.
Nice.
I've also used that same technique for doing mulled wine at Christmas time. So I'll add my chai spice right to the biodegradable bag and steep that right into the wine and let the spice infuse there. So that's another unconventional way where we're brewing tea, but using it in a fun way and infuse the flavor into the syrup or the drink of choice.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Katie. It was good seeing you.
Thank you, Shabnam, so much for having me. I can't wait to watch the rest of the episodes. I'm so excited.
Well, stay tuned because Henry's on next, but we're back next week. We're doing this all month long.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your week and happy sipping.
You too. Bye. Take care. Thanks, Katie. All right, so I'm just going to hang on because I had Henry, and I think Henry's lost his connection, but he'll be back in just a minute, I'm sure. So there are lots of really, really great tips here, and you see very, very different methods. Everybody has their own way of making iced teas, and I think that's what's so interesting about some of these things. Some people like to, make their hot tea, pour it over ice, and put that into the fridge. But as you saw, James does a very, very different way, which is to brew the tea nice and strong, and then use that strong tea to pour over ice to dilute. I am a juice adder personally. So I love lemonade. So I will quite often make a really strong tea concoction, and then I will dilute that with lemonade or any other fruit juice that you want to use. Cranberry juice is really great. And that, again, is a great sort of mixer and addition to any kind of a mocktail that you do. On that note, I think we've got Henry back coming. There he is. Perfect. So I'm going to add Henry on, and we're going to get our third recipe. Hi, Henry.
Do you see me?
I can see you. Oh,
okay.
You're outside.
Perfect. Hi, good to see you. I'm getting some great tips on baking soda and the simple syrups. I've taken good notes so far.
I'd never heard of baking soda. Have you heard that before?
No, that's first time. So
I say you learn something new every day.
You learn something new every day. How true is that? Thanks for having me here. I know time is urgent, pressing, and there's so much to talk about, so little time.
It's you know what, Henry, the beauty of being the person who controls the switches is that we can extend the time. It's fine.
That's perfect. Very nice.
So
I'm
going to introduce you to everybody else, Henry. Henry Evans is Vice President for Twinings North America. Twinings has a history dating back to 1706. They are renowned for creating vibrant and aromatic blends that are loved by all, from the classic Earl Grey and English breakfast to chai lattes and super fruity infusions. You guys have done you've got so many fantastic teas. It's crazy. So Henry, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked the others. Hot tea drinker or cold tea drinker?
I'm basically a hot tea drinker. My favorite is Twinings afternoon tea, which I enjoy basically in the afternoon or after dinner. Just one point of clarification: I am VP of Canada. There are other VPs. We share the limelight with multiple people at Twinings, so I'm the Canada guy.
You're the.
It's all good.
You're Twinings as far as I'm concerned. So I'm
Twinings for Canada, exactly.
You're all of Twinings.
Right. So basically, I've been with Twinings since 2007. So in dog years, it's a long time. But I've noticed such a change in the market here in Canada, and really a plethora of new products, new introductions. So the tea market 14, 15 years ago was basically 50% was like standard black tea. And that's now reduced now to about 25% of the market. And it's been supplanted by a delicious variety of herbal infusions and single serve teas, which are exploding in popularity. So such a big change in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And Canadians are embracing, I think, three basic trends. First and foremost, loving tea, Camellia sinensis, of course, hot or cold. It's got the antioxidants and bioflavonoids, so it's naturally a healthy drink to begin with. I think second, healthy hydration is becoming more and more like at the forefront. People understanding the need to hydrate properly, and it's tougher and tougher when you get to glass number 8, 9, or 10 to drink regular water on its own.
Sure.
So discovering new ways of infusing water. And third are like health and wellness, right? More brands are coming out with infusions which are blended with like amino acids and minerals and vitamins. So there's a new area there. So lots of change going on. And I thought my short time, I'm going to bridge the gap from classic to contemporary.
Perfect.
As we said, Twinings 1706, so it's 350 odd years old brand, but we're not living in the past, we're living in the future too. So we're going to bridge from classic to contemporary. I thought I would start with a recipe for Lady Grey tea. Just a quick history on Lady Grey. Earl Grey was, I guess, invented, not by Twinings, invented by the Earl of Grey, who was the Prime Minister, Charles Grey, the Prime Minister of the UK in 1831. He did ask Richard Twining to develop or recreate a tea brought to him as a gift from China. So he did that successfully, and the Earl of Grey loved it so much he actually named it after himself. So hence the expression Earl Grey tea, which is basically good black tea with some oil of bergamot. It was never patented or trademarked by Twinings. So you have dozens and dozens of brands out there with their own take on Earl Grey, which is great. That's the history of it. What happened in the early 19, so if you fast forward 160 years to around 1994, consumers in Scandinavia were expressing their delight with Earl Grey. They loved the taste, and the aroma wasn't so special. So they asked the master blenders, can they alter the blend of Earl Grey to make it more pleasing to their palate? So our master blenders spent some time. They added some lemon peel and orange, and hence created Lady Grey tea. So that's what Lady Grey tea is. It's basically good quality black tea from China with some citrusy fruits added to it for some great taste. So let's get to the recipe. So we're going to make a Lady Grey lime cooler. And
Okay.
the challenge with a classic tea, of course, is you've got to brew it hot, which means you have to let it cool, room temperature, and then refrigerate for a few hours or overnight. It takes time. So, but once you do that, you end up with a great tea. So we're going to fast forward. We're going to pretend that we took this kettle and filled it with water. Kettles are normally 1.7 liters, which is about 60 ounces. So you would fill the kettle, boil it, of course. I'm doing it back to basics because I'm a basics person. You boil the water, which I can do. Anybody can do that. You put into a glass pitcher. You need a glass pitcher because it can withstand heat and cold. You fill
Yep.
the glass pitcher about 175 ml, which is the kettle. You brew about 8 bags of Lady Grey in there. What I've learned over my time, just twist tie them together, 8 bags together. That way you drop them in, you brew it for 3 minutes. You can actually tie the hang tags around the handle so they don't fall in and it stays nice and clean. Once you brew it, after 3 minutes, you can pour in 6 ounces, about 250 ml of your favorite lime, either a couple of squeeze bottles of lime juice or some lime cordial, and you let it cool. So let it cool down to room temperature. It takes about 2 hours. Put it in the fridge. When it's ready, you're ready to go. And that's where we are right now. So this is pretend it's been sitting for several hours. You pour into your beautiful glass with a wedge of lime, and you can add some ice cubes to it. And you've got a beautiful classic lemon gray lime cooler, which is really, really great. Very easy to prepare. So that's recipe number 1. I'm going to
So
put all my,
before
yeah,
you move on
go
to
ahead.
this, before you move on to the second one, this is unsweetened, right? You haven't added any sweetener to this at all, right?
I have not added sweetener because I happen to have used lime cordial,
Yeah.
which has sugar in it.
It's just a little,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's got a little bit, like 10 milligrams, really not much,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not in for like heavy sweeteners. I normally add honey to my black tea, but
Mm-hmm.
for those people who prefer some sweetener, sugar or like Sweet and Low or another brand of stevia, you can add
Mm-hmm.
to taste. So it's really, you can personalize it to your
Yeah.
individual taste, which is great.
No, I think this is great because a lot of the iced teas that you get and a lot of the even in restaurants, quite often they are sweetened,
Yep, they're
and I
pre-sweetened.
know that there are a
Exactly.
lot of people that actually prefer not to have it sweetened. So this
Mm-hmm,
is really
mm-hmm.
good. Okay.
That's great. So I'm going to move things around. So luckily I prepared a little presentation table and we're going to talk about, so we've gone from classic, literally, to contemporary. So the contemporary is a new line of products we've just brought out. There are other brands in the market as well. So we don't own the market. It's really many brands out there with this. Given the fact that people are on the go, don't have time to heat and then cool off. So if you're on the go and want to take a water bottle with you wherever you are, or for
Mm-hmm.
those of us who work from home, you're sitting in front of the screen all day and you know you've got to hydrate. Again, you get the glass number 8, 9, or 10. It gets increasingly more tense to stay hydrated during that time. So why not add some natural flavor? So we are mad scientists, our master blenders a few years ago in the UK spent a couple of years and developed a line of infusions that brew perfectly and thoroughly in cold water. So
Perfect.
it really makes it so easy for, the pitcher of iced tea is great for family and friends. This is really self-indulgence. You're going out for a hike, going for a bike ride, which I do. I go out to Lake Ontario every weekend. You can carry water that's naturally flavored without any sweeteners, nothing artificial in them, just really good for you and makes hydration easier to do. So our take on it is called Cold Infuse.
Okay.
And I happen to buy this water bottle at my favorite retailer. It's one of those bottles that has a little basket where you
Okay.
could put either loose tea or better yet, you can take an infuser. So I'm going to take strawberry lemon, which is this guy here. You take one
Great.
infuser, so it's a mesh pyramid tea bag. You place it in the basket, and there you go. You just basically drop it in, and that's it. But you would first add some club soda.
Yeah.
That's something I did not bring outside, but you would fill it with some club soda, brand of your choice, store brand. name brand, club soda, drop in the infuser in this basket. The beauty of the infuser is that you can leave it in the bottle for 8 hours. So if you're going out anywhere, hiking or so forth, you don't have to take a number of tea bags or infusers with you. Just fill it once, and you could refill this up 3 times for full flavor. So you're going to get a full flavored drink, and you would add some fruit to it, some ice cubes, and now you've got a beautiful fizzy drink. It's got club soda and infusion. It's for on the go. So we've collapsed 5 hours from a classic tea down to 5 minutes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
something new.
Two questions for you.
Sure.
If I don't have a fancy water bottle like that, but I have a water bottle, which I think everybody has, I can, because it's a tea bag, it's a pyramid bag, I think I saw, I can throw that straight into my bottle, right?
You could throw it in your bottle and you could leave it there. Of course, don't attempt to swallow the tea bag, but you shouldn't do that. But otherwise, it's perfectly safe to leave in. Literally, you could refill this bottle 3 times with the same tea bag. So you're getting
that was our safety warning. Don't swallow the tea bag.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Please don't swallow the tea bag. And how long does it take to infuse? Like, does it happen?
Oh, sorry. Our expression is drop, leave, shake, and enjoy. So you drop it in. You leave it for just 5 minutes. So when I say it's collapsed to 5 minutes, not kidding. It's 5 minutes. You give it a quick shake to allow the infusion to disperse through the bottle, and literally enjoy. It's as simple as that. Very, very easy. Anyone can do it, and I'm not really welcome in my kitchen other than to eat. So I do this very easily. I can barbecue sometimes, I don't love to do that. But basically, very easy to enjoy, very tasty, and again, there's nothing artificial. And there are a few brands in the market currently that shoppers are welcome to enjoy across retail here in Canada.
So tell us, you've got 5 flavors there. What flavors can people find?
Oh, my personal favorite, again, it's all personal. I love the mango passion fruit. My personal favorite, it's quite aromatic. So you open the jar and the room envelops in this beautiful aroma of mango. So personal favorite is this one. Currently, the best seller is strawberry lemon. It's a flavor combination that's got like universal appeal. On its heels in terms of popularity is a watermelon and mint flavor. And then other ones which have equal appeal, blueberry apple, and we have a lemon ginger. In our hot teas, lemon ginger is one of our best sellers. And so we imagine this will do very well as a cold tea as well, lemon and ginger. So 5 flavors. We basically cherry picked flavors that consumers in the UK, Australia, and Canada, and US enjoy. And so we've basically got a very tight line of 5 flavors. Flavors, as you know, are quite personal. We all live amongst family and friends. So what I may like, someone else may not enjoy the mango. They may really love that blueberry apple. And so hence flavors for everyone.
Well, a really nice range of diverse flavors, which is really cool.
Yes.
Well, that looks amazing. So thank you for sharing some of your time with us today, Henry. It's good seeing you.
Thank you, Shabnam. I really enjoyed it. And let's do this again.
We'll see you again.
Okay, take care. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye.
Henry. Well, now I know we said we're going to do iced TV, and the question always is, well, how many different recipes of iced tea can we possibly see? But as you can see, we've seen 3 different types, completely different styles in making the iced tea. And I think that's what's really special about this. Well, it's what's special about tea in general, is that you can make it in so many different ways, and so many different flavors, and so many different combinations. But then you ice it, you chill it, you blend it, you add syrups to it, you add flavors to it, you cold brew it, you hot brew it, and then chill it. And the possibilities are absolutely endless. So I am going to share with you one of our iced tea videos and how, well, one of the many ways that we suggest to make iced tea. This one's lemon iced tea. So that brings us to the end of our first episode of ICE TV. I hope you join us next week. Next week, Wednesday, same time. We've got Bigelow coming on. We've got David's Tea, Tea Rebellion, as well as Tea Squared. So we've got 4 guests, and I'm fairly certain we'll have 4 completely different methods of making iced tea for you. So I hope you get out. I hope you're inspired, and you're going to chill out with some tea. See y'all later. Take care.